GTM Podcast Buddhist Knowledge Series 38 Blessing of Life Episode 22 Blessing 3 Part 3 Personage Worthy of Respect. From the previous episode, we learned about the purpose of paying respect, and today we will learn about the personage and object worthy of our respect. The person worthy of respect, in its simplest terms, is the wise, as defined in the previous blessing mentioned in the previous episode. The wise one in this context is someone whose status or position or level of existence is so high that it would be completely inappropriate for us to associate with them on equal terms or as peers. Examples of such people include 1. The Lord Buddha, who is truly wise. Why is he worthy of being respected? Well, there are 3 worthy qualities of the Buddha that need to be mentioned. 1. His wisdom is so great that he could single-handedly attain enlightenment. 2. His compassion is so great that he sacrificed the rest of his life to teach the way for others to reach enlightenment as he had done. 3. His body, speech, and mind were so pure because of his immaculateness, which he had kept the precepts that no one else in the world can compare, and for that reason we hold him in the highest of respect. To begin with, we may not be able to appreciate the degree of his virtue, but after paying respect more and more, it makes our own mind more refined, gives us the ability to consider things in constructive way, and in the end, opening to us the innate wisdom that will allow us to appreciate that virtue. In any place, there are many things that are worthy of respect and many more things that are not worthy of respect. Thus, when we deciding about the type of people who are worthy of respect, the subject of this blessing, it is important to be able to distinguish one thing from the other. What about the monk? Well, the monastic community, who can be divided into those who are devoid of their defilement, such as the arahants, the non-returner, the once-returners, and the stream enterer, and the general monastic community who are striving to train themselves towards an end of all defilements. Although the latter may not yet have purged themselves of all defilements, they are abundant in virtue to a degree that it is inappropriate to associate with them as if they were our equals. If we associate with them, we should treat them as our superior with respect at all times. Monks or clergy worthy of respect are those who exemplify, teach, and discern virtue for us by fulfilling the following 6 duties. 1. Restrain their congregation from evil. 2. Encourage them to establish themselves in virtue. These 2 responsibilities are also the domain of parents and teachers. 3. Minister to them in kindness. This means spreading loving kindness toward the congregation without exception for their happiness. They might also visit their supporters together with their monastic fellows in order to give those congregation members the chance to hear dhamma teachings and have the opportunity to practice the practice of generosity. 4. Teach them new or beneficial things. One of the most important functions of the clergy is to encourage study of the spiritual teachings among their congregation. Monks should have a large collection of teachings to give to the congregation, teaching without repeating themselves, so that the congregation can have a broad knowledge of dhamma knowledge, reinforcing their right view and ability to be a teacher to themselves in relation to finding the highest happiness in their lives. 5. Clarify things they already know. If monks give dhamma teachings they have already given to a particular group from the congregation, they should enlarge the subject in more detail than before. giving additional meaning to materials or explaining in further detail how the Dhamma can be applied for problem solving in everyday life. 6. Show them the way to heaven. This monastic duty is particularly special in the system of 6 directions, which will be mentioned later on in the later episode of podcast. Because no one in any of the other special groups can do it in the monk's place. Those who are able to enter heaven must be those who live their lives in accordance with the noble code of self-discipline. This group consists of all forms of clergy who have an exclusively spiritual rather than material aim in life, namely monks in Buddhism or priests, pastors, or ministers for other religions. We hold them in respect because they maintain their status through their high level of virtue. In conclusion, the responsibility of the clergy consists of training the lay congregation to become wise ones or virtuous people. Monks who are able to practice all 6 of these duties to their completion are of inestimable value to society and the world. They are worthy of respect both by men and angels alike. What about the virtuous monarchs? Monarchs worthy of respect are those established in the tenfold virtue of a monarch. Our parents? Our parents, an upstanding member of society. Our parents are wise ones. We should treat them with respect. Anything less would be inappropriate. Our teachers? Teachers and master, established in right view. In this context, we should mention the 2 identifying features of a teacher's duties, both of which he needs to fulfill in order to qualify for the respect of his students. These 2 duties are: 1. The duty to explain, for example, teaching a subject in theory. 2. The duty to exemplify, especially the moral usage of the subject he teaches. If he fails to perform either of these duties, his teaching is no more than a daylight robbery of his pupils. If he gives good explanations, but his personal behavior is no example for his students to follow. For example, he teaches, do as I say, do what I do, and tell the class that liquor is evil while spending all his spare time drinking at the bar. He is nothing more than a mercenary teacher. If both explain the theory well and is a good example to his student, he is a person worthy of respect. Virtuous employers. Virtuous employers are also worthy of respect. It is hard to find boss with virtue, so when we find one, we should not hesitate to pay them respect. We may not still be able to be as virtuous as them, so we ought to pay them respect in order that their virtues might never be far from our minds. Instead of being tempted to do something devious, we will be less tempted because we feel ashamed after seeing the good example set by our boss. So we will be more ashamed that anything we do wrong might reflect badly on our boss' good reputation. This is the value of having a virtuous boss. It keeps us on the straight and narrow until such time that we have reliable discretion for ourselves. So everyone, now you know about a person who is worthy of giving respect to. In the next episode, we will continue on the objects worthy of respect. See you again next time.